Alrighty, so today we're doing day 2 of graphing systems of equations. So we're solving by graphing. So step 1 says to solve the system of equations using the method of your choice. So you can use substitution or elimination. And then you have to graph the system. And then we can say, what do we notice about the graph? So if we're looking at example 1, we have y equals negative x plus 5 for the first equation, and y is equal to x minus 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first equation here, and I'm going to take that and plug it in for y. So I'm going to get negative x plus 5 is equal to x minus 3. So we all know that this is substitution. And then from here I'm going to solve. So I'm going to add x to both sides. Then I get 5 is equal to 2x minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. And I get 2x is equal to 8. Divide by 2. And x is equal to 4. So once I find my x, remember, I take that and I plug it back in to either equation for x. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to plug it into my second equation. So I have y is equal to x minus 3. So from here I know my x is now equal to 4. So 4 minus 3. So y is equal to 1. So my solution would be 4, 1. Okay, so now I have to graph. So this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to start at 4, 1 because I know that that's my point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. So there's my first point. Okay. Now from here I have to graph each equation. So equation 1 and equation 2. For equation 1, I know my y-intercept is 5. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put my dot at 5. And then my slope is negative 1. So it's going to be negative 1 over 1. So that means I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. And look, I hit my point. And then I just keep going. Okay. So this is one of my lines. This is line 1. And then my second line, I have my y-intercept of negative 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then I see that my slope is 1 over 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Oh, I hit my point again. And so on. So as you can see, both of my lines cross. This is line 2. Both of my lines cross the point 4, 1, which is what we found as our answer. So we are good. Okay, so for example number 2, I'm going to take what I have for my y, plug it in. So I get 2x plus 2 times negative x plus 5 is equal to negative 8. So from here, I'm going to distribute, and I get 2x plus negative 2x plus 10 is equal to negative 8. My 2x and my negative 2x cancel out, so I get 10 is equal to negative 8. Can this happen? Nope. So this one, there's going to be no solution. Okay, even though we have no solution, you still have to go ahead and graph. So we have our first equation and our second equation. So our first equation, our y-intercept is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then our slope is negative 1 over 1. So we're going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So we have our first line and our second line. This is where it gets a little tricky. So as you notice, for our second line, it is not in y-intercept form, or slope-intercept form. So we have 2x plus 2y is equal to negative 8. We need to get this into slope-intercept form, which is, remember, y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And I get 2y is equal to negative 2x minus 8. Divide by 2. And you get y is equal to negative x minus 4. Okay, so then I have to plot that one. So my y-intercept is negative 4. I'm going to plot a point there. And my slope is negative 1 over 1. So I'm going to plot my points and make my line. As you can see, they are parallel lines, so they will never touch. So that is why it's a no solution. Okay, and then my last problem here for example 3. Same thing as I've been doing. You're going to take this equation, plug it in for y. So I get 2x plus 2 times negative x minus 4 is equal to negative 8. So I get 2x plus negative 2x minus 8 is equal to negative 8. Same thing as before, those cancel out. So I get negative 8 equals negative 8. If it equals the same thing, this is going to give us infinite solutions because it's the same thing on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to have to graph. So let's first take my first equation here and put it into slope-intercept form. So I get 2x plus 2y is equal to negative 8. Subtract 2x. And I get 2y is equal to negative 2x minus 8. Divide by 2. Y equals negative x minus 4. Okay, so this is my first equation, then I have my second equation. If you notice, the first and the second equation are exactly the same. So negative x minus 4, negative x minus 4. So that's why they're infinite solutions. I'm going to go ahead and graph. So my slope, my y-intercept is negative 4. And then my slope was negative 1 over 1. So there's my solution. So this was graphs 1 and 2. Okay, so go ahead and flip it over to the back. So at the top you can see it says graph of a system. So intersecting lines, that means that there's one solution. Same line is infinitely many, and parallel lines, which we just talked about, was no solution. So you want to use the graph at the right to determine whether each system has no solution, one solution, or infinitely many solutions. So for number 4, I want you to do 4, 5, 6, and 7 on your own and then check your answers. You will see that it is one solution, and your point is 3, negative 1. Number 5 is going to be no solution. Number 6 is infinite solutions. And 7 is one solution, which is 6, 2. So what you had to do is you had to actually solve each of these systems first, so you need to show your work, and then you have to look at the graph and see which one has a no solution, one solution, infinitely many solutions. Go ahead and keep this out so that you're able to work on your homework. Bye.